We are getting some breaking news in the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie.
That it's because she's my mom and somebody thought, oh, that girl, that lady has money. And I just say, I'm so sorry, Mommy. I'm so sorry.
55 days. That's how long Nancy Guthrie has been missing. 55 days of searching. 55 days of silence. And still, no arrests. But right now, something is shifting. The family has spoken. The FBI has moved. And the investigation is closing in on a specific area, a specific type of person, maybe even a specific face. Today, we're breaking down two major developments that could crack this case wide open. The first, a powerful statement from Nancy's own family. A statement that points directly at someone in the Tucson community. The second, the FBI is actively investigating a vacant house near Nancy's property. A house that may have been used to watch her. To study her routine. To wait for the right moment. And then there's the pattern. January 11th, January 24th. February 1st. 3 dates. 3 separate incidents or sightings connected to this case, all happening on weekends. Think about that for a second. The weekdays? Nothing. The weekend comes, and suddenly, there's activity. So the question we have to ask is this: is the person responsible for Nancy's disappearance living a completely normal life during the week? Going to work? Eating dinner? Maybe even watching true crime content, just like you? Because here's the reality, and this is something I want you to sit with. The suspect in this case is almost certainly still in Tucson. Still walking around. Still breathing the same air as Nancy's family. They could be watching this video right now. Stay with me, because what we uncover today could change everything. When a family releases a public statement in an active missing persons case, it's rarely just emotion. It's strategy. Nancy's family didn't just ask the public for prayers. They didn't just beg for information in general terms. No, they pointed directly at the Tucson community. Local people. Someone who knows this neighborhood. Someone who may know the family. Now, why would they do that? Because in most cases like this, law enforcement quietly guides the family's messaging. Detectives will often advise families to speak in ways that create psychological pressure on a specific type of suspect. A local suspect. Someone who would feel that pressure personally. When a family says, "We believe someone in this community knows something," they're not guessing. That's a signal. That's investigators narrowing the funnel. They're not looking at strangers passing through. They're not chasing leads in Phoenix or Albuquerque. The focus, right now, is on someone close. Someone embedded in Tucson's daily life. And that tells us something enormous. The evidence isn't pointing outward. It's pointing inward. Into the neighborhood. Into familiar faces. Into someone who may have known Nancy's name before she ever went missing. In criminal psychology, there's a term for this type of offender. A marauder. Not someone who travels far to commit a crime. Not someone who drives in from another state and disappears into the night. A marauder operates from a home base. They move outward from a central point, usually their own residence, commit the act, and then return. Home. Safety. Routine. And right now, all geographic indicators in this case are pointing toward South Tucson. The movement patterns. The sighting locations. The direction of the evidence. It all anchors back to a concentrated area, a radius that suggests this person lives nearby, works nearby, or has a deep connection to that specific part of the city. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. There is a neighbor, someone investigators have taken a strong interest in, who moved away from the area but kept coming back. Repeatedly. After the move. After there was no obvious reason to return. Why would someone do that? Maybe they left something behind. Maybe they missed the neighborhood. Or maybe the pull back to that location was something much darker. Something tied directly to Nancy. This pattern of returning to the scene, or to the surrounding area, is a well-documented behavior in criminal investigations. It's called recontact behavior. And it's a red flag that investigators take extremely seriously. The marauder doesn't disappear. They hover. And right now, someone is hovering very close to this case. Now let's talk about the vacant house. The FBI has confirmed they are actively investigating a vacant property near Nancy Guthrie's home. And this one specific detail, is haunting. Because a vacant house isn't just an empty building. In the context of a surveillance-based crime, which this appears to be, a vacant house is a perfect staging area. You can watch someone's driveway from a vacant window. You can track what time they leave for work. You can learn when they're alone. You can map their entire routine without ever being detected. Whoever took Nancy, this wasn't random. This was studied. This was planned. They knew when to move. And vacant houses aren't the only cover available in a residential neighborhood. Think about the construction workers. Every neighborhood has them. People in work clothes, hard hats, carrying equipment. People who have a completely legitimate reason to be standing on a street corner, looking at a house, sitting in a truck for hours. Nobody questions them. Nobody calls the police about them. They are invisible by design. And an experienced predator knows this. They know how to blend. How to look like they belong. How to be right in front of you, without you ever feeling afraid. Nancy's neighborhood had that vulnerability. And someone used it. But here's where this case begins to close. Because the FBI and local investigators have something that cannot be explained away. Something that doesn't lie. Something that will follow this suspect for the rest of their life. DNA. A mixed DNA profile was recovered from inside Nancy Guthrie's home. For those unfamiliar, a mixed profile means the sample contains genetic material from more than one person. In cases like this, investigators work to separate the profiles and identify contributors. And if one of those contributors has no legitimate reason to be inside that home, the case against them begins to build. But it gets even more powerful than that. Investigators are now using genetic genealogy, the same technology that finally caught the Golden State Killer after decades on the run. Here's how it works. The unknown DNA profile is uploaded to public genealogy databases. Investigators then trace family trees, cousins, second cousins, distant relatives, and work backwards until they can identify a suspect. It takes time. It takes precision. But it works. And here's the critical part. If this suspect is local to Tucson, if they have family in this area, if their relatives have ever done an ancestry test or uploaded their DNA to a public database, the family tree will lead straight to them. There is nowhere to hide from your own genetics. And Sheriff Nanos has already hinted, publicly, that investigators are holding back information because the case is, in his own words, tightening. They know something. They're just not ready to show their hand yet. But the hand is there. And it's a strong one. Nancy Guthrie's family said something that has stayed with me. They said they cannot celebrate her life, they cannot truly grieve, until she is brought to a final place of rest. That sentence breaks my heart. Because it says everything about what this family is living through right now. They're suspended. Frozen between hope and devastation. Unable to move forward. Unable to look back. 55 days of that. And the person responsible is still out there. So if you are watching this from Tucson, or if you know someone connected to this case, I am talking directly to you right now. If something felt wrong. If a neighbor acted strangely. If someone returned to the area when they had no reason to. If you saw an unfamiliar car parked near Nancy's home on a weekend. If anything didn't sit right with you during those early days of January or February, please report it. Call the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Submit a tip anonymously. Because in cases like this, the smallest detail, a car color, a time, a face you barely remember, can be the thread that unravels everything. Nancy deserves to come home. Her family deserves answers. And the person who did this deserves to face justice. Before I go, if you stand with the Guthrie family, if you want justice for Nancy, drop the word amen in the comments right now. Let's show this family that thousands of people around the world are in their corner. Subscribe to the Case Code for every update on this case as it develops. We are not letting this go. We are watching. We are digging. And we will be here until justice is served. This is the Case Code. And we don't stop until there are answers.